1 to 3. They laughed the moment he walked into the showroom. And honestly, Daniel Carter was used to that sound. It wasn't cruel laughter at first, more like amused disbelief. The kind people shared when they thought someone didn't belong in their world. Daniel stood quietly near the entrance. His worn brown jacket zipped halfway up. Boots scuffed from years of warehouse floors and delivery docks. Outside, snow fell gently, settling on the glass doors like powdered sugar. Christmas music hummed softly through hidden speakers, and giant red bows sat proudly atop luxury cars polished to mirror perfection. Salesmen in tailored suits glanced at him, exchanged looks, and returned to their tablets. No one rushed to greet him. No one ever did. Daniel didn't mind. He wasn't here for them. He was here for his daughter. Her name was Lily. She was 12, turning 13 just 2 days after Christmas. She had been fighting leukemia for almost a year now, bravely enduring hospital rooms instead of classrooms, IV drips instead of sleepovers, chemo sessions instead of birthday parties. Daniel had watched his little girl lose her hair, her strength, and sometimes her smile, but never her hope. One night, as they sat together watching snow fall outside her hospital window, Lily whispered, "Daddy, if I get better, can we drive somewhere far? Somewhere I've never been before?" Daniel smiled, hiding the ache in his chest. "Anywhere you want, baby," he said. That night he made a promise to buy her a car safe enough, warm enough, and reliable enough to take her wherever life would allow. Not a dream car, a freedom car. That promise brought him here. Daniel walked slowly between rows of vehicles until he stopped in front of a deep blue SUV. It wasn't the most expensive one in the showroom, but it was solid, safe, and spacious. He imagined Lily in the passenger seat, bundled in a pink scarf. Christmas lights reflected in the windshield as they drove through snowy streets. His fingers brushed the door handle as he whispered, "This is it." That's when a voice behind him chuckled. "You know that one starts at 68,000, right?" A salesman finally approached, arms crossed, eyebrow raised. Daniel nodded calmly. "Yes, sir." "I know." The man smirked. "We also have more affordable options in the back lot." Daniel turned, meeting his eyes without anger. "I'm not looking for affordable. I'm looking for safe." Another salesman nearby laughed openly now. "Cash or financing?" one asked sarcastically. "Cash," Daniel replied simply. That did it. The laughter grew louder, spreading like a virus through the showroom. One man muttered, "Sure, Santa," under his breath. Daniel felt his face warm, but he stayed still. He thought of Lily's thin arms wrapped around his neck. He thought of her whispering, "Daddy, you always keep your promises." Slowly, deliberately, Daniel reached into his worn jacket and pulled out a thick envelope. He placed it on the hood of the car. "I'd like 2 to 3 to speak to the manager," he said quietly. The room shifted. The laughter faded into awkward silence. A manager emerged moments later, irritation clear on his face, until Daniel opened the envelope. Neatly stacked bills filled the space, crisp and real. Daniel added another envelope, then another. The sound of cash hitting the hood echoed louder than any laughter had moments before. 72,000, Daniel said calmly. "Including tax," the manager swallowed hard. No one laughed now. No one spoke at all. Daniel looked around the room, his voice steady but heavy with meaning. "I've worked 2 jobs for 7 years. Overtime, night shifts, weekends. Every dollar saved was for my daughter. So yes, this car is for Christmas." Tears filled the manager's eyes. One salesman slowly lowered his head. Another wiped his face. Daniel signed the papers in silence, the pen shaking just slightly in his hand, not from fear, but from emotion. As he received the keys, he imagined Lily's reaction. The surprise, the joy, the moment she would realize that her father never stopped fighting for her, even when the world laughed. Before you find out what happens when Lily sees the car on Christmas morning, and how the same people who laughed are forced to face a truth that changes everything, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because stories like this remind us that kindness, sacrifice, and quiet strength always win in the end. Christmas morning arrived quietly, the kind of quiet that only comes after a long night of snowfall. The city streets were blanketed in white, streetlights glowing softly like candles against the dawn. Daniel stood outside their small apartment building, hands shoved deep into his pockets, breath visible in the cold air. Parked in front of him was the blue SUV, freshly washed. A giant red bow stretched across the hood. He hadn't slept all night. His heart pounded with a mix of excitement and fear, not fear of the gift, but fear of disappointment, fear of hoping too much after a year that had taken so much from his little girl. Upstairs, Lily was waking up, unaware that the promise whispered in a hospital room was about to become real. When Lily stepped outside, with her blanket wrapped around her shoulders, she stopped, completely froze. Her eyes moved from the snow-covered street to the glowing blue car, then to her father. "Daddy, whose car is that?" she asked softly, almost afraid to speak too loudly as if the moment might break. Daniel knelt in front of her, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Merry Christmas, Lily," he said, voice thick. "It's yours." "Well, ours. For all the places you still have to see." For a moment she didn't react. Then her hands flew to her mouth, and tears streamed down her cheeks. You promised," she whispered. Daniel nodded. "I always will." Neighbors watched from windows. A woman across the street wiped her eyes. Lily walked slowly around the car, touching it as if it was something fragile. Three and alive. "Does this mean, when I'm better, we can go anywhere?" she asked. Daniel swallowed hard. "Anywhere," he said. Lily hugged him with a strength that surprised him, her small arms holding tight like she was anchoring herself to the world. In that moment, the laughter from the showroom meant nothing. The judgment meant nothing. All that mattered was that his daughter believed in tomorrow again.